What is life like in Iran right now during the war? Well, I traveled to Iran to find out for myself. I met up with journalists Tim Anderson and Dimitri Lascaris in Turkey and crossed the border with them into Iran in order to cover the war. In this video, I will take you through the first part of my journey to the city of Tabriz, show you some of the sites that both the US and Israel have bombed, share the stories of people on the ground, and give you my assessments of what morale is currently like in Iran. We first crossed the Turkish-Iranian border at Kapikoy, which takes you into the Azerbaijani region of northwestern Iran. The Azerbaijani region is split into the western and eastern provinces. The majority of the people here are Azeri. This is an important fact you should remember, as I'll return to it and explain more about it later on. This is potentially one of the most beautiful provinces of Iran. It is full of mountains, plenty of rain, snow, streams, and lakes. It is lush with greenery and even entire forests. Our first destination was Tabriz, which is the capital city of this province. Along the way, we stopped for some food at a local restaurant and ordered pizza. Tim, how was the drive? Did you get any rest?
The drive? No, I'm just tired, just catching up on rest.
Welcome to Iran. You are now in the land of freedom. You are not in USA, UK, or other places where you cannot talk. Or if you talk about Iran, Palestine, you get locked up.
Now, because of the war, most places like this have the news on 24/7 for people to keep tabs on what's going on in the country. What are we looking at? The TV?
Yeah, it's news channel, 24-hour news channel, and the picture is Lorestan province, and it shows different provinces of Iran for tonight.
Oh, they have the F-35 on the TV, you see it?
The F-35 on the left.
Yeah. We arrived on the same day that the F-35 was successfully hit by Iranian air defenses, so people were glued to the TV for more information. We eventually made it to the beautiful city of Tabriz, which is home to 1.6 million people. You'll notice here that the mountains are red. This is because of high concentrations of iron oxide in the soil. These mountains are part of a larger chain of mountains known as the Painted Mountains of Tabriz because they have a number of mineral veins that produce white, red, and even green colors in the sediment. Overall, Tabriz is a very clean and scenic city nestled in the valley of these painted mountains. It's also thousands of feet high up in the air above sea level. Tabriz is the sixth most populated city in all of Iran and the largest economic hub of the northwestern provinces of Iran. It is a very diverse city with Azeris, Persians, Kurds, Assyrians, Armenians, and many other ethnicities and religions. Most people here are Azeri and speak Azeri as their first language, with Persian being their second. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm taking so long to describe Tabriz and mention to you that the largest population in the area are Azeris. Well, it's because I think it's important to understand, given that both the US and Israel plan to try and break up Iran into smaller states by producing separatist uprisings. Now, we all know that the US tried to draw the Kurds into a separatist war against Iran, but many have overlooked their desire to potentially have the Azeris break away from Iran as well. This is, of course, a classic playbook by the US whenever they try to divide and conquer a country. To weaken the central government and the nation as a whole, they encourage ethnic groups to rise up and declare independence. Now, Iran is a very diverse nation with all kinds of ethnicities. You have Kurds, Azeris, Armenians, Assyrians, Jews, Arabs, Afghans, Pakistanis, Balochis, Kashmiris, Central Asians, and of course Persians. So there are a number of different ethnicities that the US could try and recruit for separatist wars to weaken the Iranian state. So the question that's relevant here is, could that work with the Azeris? I can't profess to be an expert because I've only been here for a short amount of time, but given what I know, my answer is no. And I'll share some facts with you to help you understand why. Azeris have been part of Persian civilization for many hundreds of years. They are not Persians, but are an important part of Persian and Iranian history and culture. They are very well respected in Iran. Contrary to Western propaganda, Azeri identity is not suppressed by the Islamic Republic. In fact, most people in this region, as I mentioned earlier, speak Azeri first, Farsi or Persian second, and some can't even speak Persian at all. To get a sense of how much mobility and respect Azeris have in Iranian society, all you have to do is look at the very top. The late supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, was Azeri himself, who was born in the eastern city of Khamenei in eastern Azerbaijan province of northwestern Iran. So naturally, Azeris are very proud of this fact. So despite having a distinct cultural identity, ethnicity, and language, Azeris still view themselves as an important part of Iran. You can even describe them as being inseparable from Iran. So Azeris are respected, happy, and loyal to Iran. And as the majority population of the eastern and western Azerbaijani provinces, including the city of Tabriz, which is the largest economic hub of the entire northwestern Iranian region, it's safe to say that there probably won't be any separatist war in this part of Iran. So when we arrived in Tabriz, we set out to document the civilian areas that were targeted by US and Israeli warplanes. Your first 12 hours here in Iran.
Well, we arrived yesterday and coming overland, and the atmosphere already is very hyped, and I think people are have a lot of adrenaline that they're living in a war situation, yet life is more or less going on normal because it's such a big country, there's such a lot of infrastructure and development. The bombing is going on, but it's not really always visible, basically. So we're just finding out. We're just looking and learning at the moment.
Our first visit was to a civilian apartment building that was hit by a bomb in the middle of the night. This woman survived the attack. Her husband and 2 children, ages 3 and 13, however, did not.
Said, please don't move these rubble. My children are inside,
And
but
you-
they told me no. We have care. We have taken them out,
And you can see them.
and the rubble was on my children.
Mən ambulansa getdim, yox uşaqlarımı çıxartmayacağam, mən getməyəcəm.
Then I told the aid worker, the ambulance, that until they take my sons out, I cannot leave this place.
Ondan sonra dedilər biz çıxardarıq, salim veririk, amma ölmüşdülər.
Then they told me that we can keep them safe, but they were dead.
Bimaristanda kimdən soruşdum, balalarım nədir, ağam nədir, amma dedi salimdir. Mən də bilirdim.
Then I asked everyone in the hospital, how is my family, my children, my father? They said they are safe, but no. My father was a barber, a normal person.
Ondan sonra gördük ki, elə fot eləyiblər.
Then 3 of them were killed.
And you can see the photo of Habib Agha. He's the famous hair cutter and barberman of this neighborhood.
The one that she
and,
was talking about.
And 2 of his sons. Neçə yaşında var? Neçə yaşında var?
Təvəllüdü 64.
Uşaqlar az xan.
Birinin 3 yaşı vardı,
One
birinin
of them
13
3,
yaşı
the other
vardı.
one 13.
Mahur, he is
Üç
just
yaşı
3
var
years
dedi.
old. Mahur is 3 years old and
Mahan da 13 yaşı vardı.
and Mahan just 12 years old.
13 değil.
13
13.
yaşı vardı.
13 years old.
Now, I've seen a lot of violence and heartbreak these last few years, as I'm sure you have as well, with the genocide in Gaza. So it's hard not to be numb and view her as just another victim, one of many in the region. So I have to actively project my own self onto these people and imagine myself in their shoes in order to feel human again and empathize with her pain so I can feel it a bit more strongly. I don't want to be numb. I want to be emotional. I want to be sad. I want to be angry. I want to feel something, anything, to remind myself that I'm still human and to emphasize and remember that this suffering is not normal no matter how much of it we see in the region. So while filming, I stare deeply into her eyes. I watch her face. I watch her cry. I imagine what it would be like to lose everyone that I love. One moment you exist in a familiar world with your loved ones. Then a bomb strikes and shreds your husband and 2 children into pieces and rips them from this life. And just like that, her entire world is gone. The world isn't familiar anymore. Her loved ones are gone forever, and they're not coming back. And for what? So Benjamin Netanyahu and Ben Gvir and Smotrich and their Jewish supremacist population of demons can realize their delusions of supremacy. What right do these people have to transform this woman's life like this? It's devastating, disgusting, and completely unacceptable.
This is one of many war crimes that the Israelis and the US have been carrying out against the Iranian people, and it's condemned worldwide in principle, but the question is who is standing up to them, and it's really the Iranian military and their allied forces in this region that are the only ones that have really been prepared to stand up to these terrible criminals.
What we just witnessed is it's heartbreaking, and it is essential that we be here to document this because these are human beings. They're like us, and their families are being destroyed. Their lives are being eradicated, and I think I speak for all the people in this contingent of journalists that being here is essential to helping people back in the West understand the real consequences of this criminal war.
You both witnessed this woman break down in tears. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to witness a woman like that? I mean, we're here kind of harvesting their stories. What is it like to witness that documented and then share it with people?
Well, for me, what was two things. Of course, any human being who suffers the losses that she has suffered would be devastated. But what was most striking to me was that despite her pain, she declared her defiance to Israel and the United States. And at the same time as she was, her outpouring of emotion happened, the emergency worker himself could not control his sadness, and that was really hard to watch.
It's actually embarrassing that she is subject to being re-traumatized by this, because the emergency worker was talking about the leg of one of her children being torn off and being found in the rubble, and it's a terrible thing for her to go through. I feel embarrassed really that we had to ask her about that, but in a way it's important that her story gets out, and I think she understands that, because she was talking about how the invaders are not going to control a grain of earth in this country, basically. She came out with a statement of defiance at the end after her grief.
I spoke to her and her brother to express to them that we as Americans do not approve of this crime. I'm here with a translator. I'm here with the widow. She lost her husband and her 2 children, and her brother, who's going to be looking after her from here on out. I was just talking with them and sharing with them that many Americans are opposed to what the United States government is doing in Iran. I was explaining to them that many of us on social media are voicing our opposition to what the government is doing, specifically because we all understand that this is a war not for the American interests, not for the American people, but rather for the Zionists and their wet dream of expansion. And as a result, you end up murdering the family members of an innocent woman, her 2 children murdered in front of her. She miraculously survived with just a few stitches on her face, but the price she paid for surviving is losing her husband and her 2 children, who are completely innocent. And despite this loss, she's telling me that she's not opposed to the American people. She does not hate the American people. She is opposed to what the American government is doing.
نه انتظاری است بر مردم آمریکا نه اشیورsunlar. What they can do.
İran bıraksın kuruluktan çıkarsınlar. Şahitleri
To
yoktur.
put Trump outside presidency. He's not competent.
Merdumunda çunak yoktu. Celal ne Trump'ı da vardı.
American people does not have any sin. They have done nothing wrong. Whatever is being carried out is on the shoulder of the president.
Bizim merdum Amerika'dan xahiş edip, bunlarla bizim kardeşimizler.
We ask the American people, they're like our brothers.
Bizim müşkülümüz devlet Amerika ile, merdum Amerika ile
They
değil.
do not have problem with the American people, but their government.
Onlar da bize tayt ağlardılar, mağaraattılar, insandılar, kalbileri var.
They are like us, they are human, they have hearts, they suffer.
Valla hukuku beşer Amerika'da merdum Amerika'dır. Çünkü bizimle hemmişe derdimize dildarlık öğütler, hemmişe millet Amerika değerli bir şahsiyetli insandır. Ama devlet Amerika.
He says that the American people, their nation, that they observe the human right, they always try to give us support, they try to listen to us, but their government.
Isn't it remarkable that despite their suffering, they still emphasize that it is not the American people that they are at war with or have an issue with, but the criminal elite like Trump and his Zionist puppet masters? Few people would have the capacity to make a distinction like this after such a devastating experience. Later, we traveled to a waste management facility. US and Israeli jets dropped a massive bomb on this parking lot where garbage trucks, street cleaners, and recycling vehicles gather for their waste management duties. Before setting out for work, a massive bomb hit this lot, producing a gigantic crater and so much force that it flipped this gigantic truck over onto its side. The shrapnel exploded into all directions and damaged buildings hundreds of feet away. One poor man sitting in the driver's seat of this garbage truck was struck by shrapnel and killed. His damaged car still parked just a few feet away. His children will never see him again. They are orphans now. His wife will never see him again. She is a widow now. It begs the question, why? Why would they target A garbage truck. Well, for the same reason that they would target pharmacies, power plants, police stations, oil depots, parks, sport complexes, and government buildings. The intention is to destroy Iranian society. You see, society is built upon institutions and services. Because they cannot and have not defeated the Iranian military, the US and Israel are trying to break the society and force the people into the streets out of anger and desperation. It's about pushing people to the brink. And one of the ways they can do that is by destroying the waste management facilities and ensuring that garbage does not get collected and stays littered in the streets. Now, I should remind you that I'm technically in a war zone, but I do have to say that so far, I have not experienced any war thus far, other than witnessing the aftermath of these attacks and occasionally hearing air defenses activated or an explosion off in the distance. Life here in Iran has continued as if there is no war at all, especially since the majority of the attacks are on the capital city of Tehran and underground facilities and military installations around the country. Tabriz and other cities have experienced bombings, but the majority of it was during the opening week. It has since cooled down. However, while filming at this waste management facility, we heard a loud explosion from warplanes nearby. Saying about those.
I was saying that the bomb was fallen here as the person told me, and right now one sound of explosion. This is the second one that we heard right now. Was fallen
There's
here.
no sirens from air defense.
No. We do not have siren for air defense here in Iran.
Okay.
A kind of massive explosion. And the Red Crescent Society, they will give you the details of these explosions.
Can we go there now?
Here. Yeah, they're here.
No, can we go? Can we go to the site of that bombing right now?
میگه اونجایی که بمبارد. He says most of them are industrial places, but whether we are allowed to go there or not, we don't know.
Find out. Let's go. We weren't able to drive to these explosions because we already had plans to visit the family of another slain civilian in a small city near Tabriz called Azar Shahar. There, a father of 3 was murdered while performing his duties at the local post office, which was targeted and bombed by the US and Israel. His father, an Azari man, was steadfast and strong.
It was an honor for me that my son to be martyred. It was my honor and it was a dream for me.
Allah bu çuvadı sizlerden ve bizim rəhbərimizdən, Niruy Müsəlləhimizdən razı olsun və mənim bir daha da sözüm budur ki
he also expresses greetings to you once again, to the Iranian armed forces and the leader of the Islamic Revolution.
Remember when I told you that these people were loyal to the Islamic Republic? Now you should understand why I say that. The son of the slain man had a very important message for the state of Israel.
همیشه صحبت شه شهد الله و من افتخار eləyəm və böyüyəndə intiqam alacağam İsraildən, Amerikadan.
And he says that it was an honor for me, and when I grow up, I will take the revenge of the blood of my father from the Israel and from the United States.
His close friend and fellow co-worker of 18 years could barely hold back tears when talking about what happened. Imagine losing your best friend. Imagine losing them like this. You can really tell that this man loved his friend like a brother. Iran is full of people like this, loyal, loving, warm, kind. They are experiencing so much trauma at this time because of Zionism, a force so evil that it has spread trauma and tragedy just like this all over the region ever since its founding. It is truly a genocidal entity. But this entity has chosen the wrong people to mess with. You see, despite being up against both Israel and the United States, which is the world's greatest superpower in human history, millions of Iranians take to the streets every night to express their defiance. They don't want a ceasefire. They don't want to back down. They want revenge. They want justice. They want dignity. They want honor. They want to make history. And they may have potentially already done it. The reason why I say this is because I've attended some of these rallies and I've heard their rhetoric. Needless to say, morale is currently very high. In Tabriz, we went to this rally where mostly Azari Iranians cheered, chanted, cried, and prayed together in unison. Families brought food and broke their fast together in the streets. This woman was reading Quran during the rally. I'm telling you, these are not normal people. The Islamic Revolution is a hornet's nest that Trump just punched and kicked. He has no idea America the kind of people he has awakened. A people who emphasize martyrdom as an ethos. Death before dishonor is their mantra, and they have the missiles, rockets, and drones to go along with it. In my next episode, I will take you on my journey to Tehran and give you a sense of what the situation is like there in the capital. So stay tuned for that. Now, if you'd like to support my work, please do consider becoming a channel member. The link to do that is pinned in the comment section of this video. I appreciate your patience. As you guys know, I'm in Iran and the internet is not the greatest, and I'm also moving quite a bit very quickly from city to city, from site to site, and so I'm constantly filming on the go, and it's difficult for me to sit down, edit, and upload, but I'm doing my best, and I hope to get an episode out to you every 2 or 3 days if I can. I appreciate your patience and your support. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care of yourselves.
Trust nothing. No laws.